Hello guys, welcome to Study for Civil Services. In this video we will see NCERT Class 7 Geography Chapter 5, and we have already covered all the chapters of NCERT Class 6 Geography and 4 chapters of NCERT Class 7 Geography, and in this video we are covering 5th chapter of NCERT Class 7 Geography. And NCERT is the basic for all the competitive exam and mostly for the all the civil services exams like UPSC and other state PCS exams. So NCRT, NCRT reading is must for every exam aspirants. And in this video series, we are going to cover all the NCRTs of geography, history, polity, and we are also going to cover standard books videos in the coming days. So please subscribe our channel. So let's start the chapter 5th of the class 7th NCRT geography. In this chapter, the explanation about the water forms, the fresh waters, and various type of water forms on the earth are explained. First of all, we will know what is a terrarium. See, it is an artificial enclosure for which for keeping the small house plants. Okay, see, it looks like this. It is written there, and the diagram is also shown in the PDF itself. So this is a terrarium, and it is generally used in the houses for growing small plants, for growing small flower plants or any other decorating plants. Now the sun heat causes the evaporation of the water vapor. Okay, now when the water vapor cools down, it condenses and forms the cloud, and from the cloud it again comes to the land or the sea in the form of rain, snow or sleet. So this is known as the water cycle, because water continuously changes its form and circulate between the ocean, atmosphere and land, and that is why the whole water circulates around the atmosphere and hydrosphere and land, and this cycle is known as water cycle. And there are various forms of precipitation like rain or snow or sleet. So our earth actually behaves like a terrarium, and you might seen that you might use the same water that existed centuries ago and which we are using today, and also the water might be used in to irrigate a field in the Haryana may have flown down up to the Amazon river in the Brazil. So we can see in this diagram, this is a water cycle. Water evaporate from the open ocean or open seas, then it goes to form the cloud, then condensation take place. When the cloud become too heavy to hold the water in the atmosphere, then the water goes down to the atmosphere, to the land or the continents, and in the form of the precipitation. Various type of precipitation are there, like rain, snow or sleet, and also the water will be run off from the mountains. That is why it is advisable not to grow anything or not to do agriculture in the mountain, uh, because it will then deforest the mountain, and it will cause the soil erosion, soil pollution. Because for the cropping or the for the agriculture, we need to cut the forest. And if you see the major sources of the fresh water, there are various type of major sources like rivers, ponds, spring and glaciers. But the problem is that the out of 100% of the water available in the earth, ocean bodies and seas contains around 97% of the water, and the most of the water from the ocean and seas are salty water, because they contain NaCl or the common salt or the or various type of solvents in the water. So that water we cannot use. So that is why it is said that in spite of having large amount of water, earth is so earth may suffer from the water scarcity. And it is generally seen in the news also, in the areas of Africa or some parts of Asia, because of the rising pressure of population, because of the water pollution and because of the overuse of water, because of the heavy use of water in the agriculture. We are seeing some instances of water scarcity in various parts of the earth. And this is written here, see, the ocean water or the sea water is dissolved from the various type of solvents, and most of the salt is actually sodium chloride and or the common salt whatever we eat. This is a diagram for all the oceans and the seas present on the earth. So this is a what map. Africa, see, Nile River passes through the Africa. Then Niger River passes on the west of the Africa. Then Congo River. Then Lake Victoria is there. Then Orange River is also flows through the Africa. Then the famous river of Australia is Darling River. Then there are some rivers in Europe also like Danube River. Then there are some of the seas like Black Sea and Caspian Sea. They have the highest amount of salinity. They have that amount of salinity that even a man start floating on the water of these seas, because water is very dense. So any person, if they jump into these seas, they will not be drowned. There are some lakes in the America also, like Great Bear, Great Slave, Lake Winnipeg, Lake Superior. These are the Great Lakes of America, and Great Huron, Lake Huron. There is a trick to remember the Great Lakes of America. Of uh, There are five Great Lakes of America, and the trick is HOMES, homes. If you word the remember the word homes only, then you will be remembering all the rivers of the Great Lakes of North America. Now we'll come to third page of this PDF. So this is the distribution of the total amount of water present in the earth. See, out of 100%, 97.3% is the saline water, and that comes from the ocean and seas. And the remaining 2.7%, the most of the water is in the ice caps and glaciers. So we will be left with only 0.7% water. And out of the remaining water of the fresh water, whatever is available for the human beings and plants and other living beings on the earth, the out 0.68 means the major portion is occurred in the groundwater. Then freshwater lakes 0.009%, then inland seas and salt lakes 0.009%, then some water is present in atmosphere also 0.0019, then some water is present in rivers. So mostly if you see out of 100% water, only 0.07% water is available for the humankind, and that is why it is said that in spite of a blue planet, in spite of having a large amount of water on the earth is still uh, suffering from the scarcity of water in various parts of the earth. Now, if you see what is salinity, salinity is actually the amount of the salt uh, in grams present in 1000 grams of the water. So if 1000 grams of the water have suppose 35 grams of salt dissolved in it, so the salinity would be 35 parts per thousand. And if you see the average salinity of the oceans, the average salinity of the oceans is 35,000 parts per thousand. And Dead Sea in the Israel, I've already told you this, is having 340 grams per liter of water. See, 1000 gram is mostly equivalent to the 1 liter. Actually, 1 liter equal to some 900 grams. And these type of seas are very dense. Caspian Sea and this Dead Sea, that even swimmers can starts floating in it, because it contains the large amount of salt content in, and that is why they are very dense. And water distribution can also be demonstrated by a simple activity, like if you take 2 liter of water bucket and then only a 1 spoon of water is reverse, and 12 spoon of water is actually the fresh water. So you can imagine that the amount of the distribution of fresh water is very less in the earth. And everybody know that water is essential for survival, for everything, for crop, for industries, for bathing, for clothing, everything we need water. We can survive without food, but we cannot survive without water. So we need to focus on for conserving the water. We need to remove the processes that wastewater. And these are the some of the news collections. We need to focus on depolluting the rivers, and government of India has launched various schemes like Namami Gange to clean the Ganga and all its tributaries. Now we'll see what is ocean circulation. See, if you see, the ocean water is always moving, and everyone is very the if you see the ocean circulation, and if you see the discussion of ocean, there is something very magical about walking bare feet on the earth, on the seashore, and then the wet sand on the beach, the cool breeze, the seabirds, the smell of the salts in the air, and the music of the waves. Everything is so fascinating. Uh, Whenever you go to the coastal areas, whenever you go near the oceans, and the most important property of ocean water is that it it moves continuously. It is never still. So please remember this fact, because this fact can be asked directly. And the movement of ocean can be broadly categorized into four forms. In this chapter, only we will stick to the three forms, that is waves, tides, and currents. But if you read higher class books, then there is one more forms, that is downwelling and upwelling, whatever happens in the El Nino or La Nina case. And March 22 is actually celebrated as the World Water Day, and in on that day we focus on to conserve the water, and we define various ways also. And if you see the movement of ocean circulation and of ocean water, first movement was the waves. Waves are formed when winds scrape across the ocean surface, and because of the friction of the wind with the ocean water, waves are generated. And the stronger the wind blows, the bigger the wave become. So the stronger the wind blows, the highest its velocity will, and highest will be the friction force, and then the bigger wave will be created. And this is a picture of whenever you fall something on the beach of on any sea or ocean, and whenever throw a ball into the water, so the ball gets washed back to the shore because of the waves, because the water on the surface of the ocean rises and falls alternatively like a sine wave. Okay, and that is why they are known as waves. And if these waves move with very high speed, and they form very huge waves, and then they might be converted into a huge tidal wave also, and that is known as tsunami. You might have heard this term. See, tsunami is a Japanese word which means the harbor waves, because whenever tsunami comes, many harbors get destroyed, because tsunami hits directly to the coast and they will destroy the harbors. And that is why the term tsunami is given by the Japanese scientist. And the largest tsunami ever measured was more than 150-meter height. And the height of these waves may be affected by various factors, like whenever there is an earthquake or volcanic eruption or underwater landslides, then they shift large amount of ocean water. And the same process is happens in the tsunami also. See, in tsunami is actually happened or occurred after an earthquake. See, whenever the earthquake comes underside of the water, or in on the ocean surface, so then whenever the earthquake comes, the landslide come, then a large amount of water, the plates, the one plate will go down, or some one plate will go down and the other plate will remain at the same position. Then they will draw a large amount of water from the coast, and whenever that water again re-emerges into the coast, then because of the plate tectonics and various earthquake reasons, then a huge wave will be formed with the highest speed. more than even 700 kilometer per hour. And everybody is, you know, everybody knows the tsunami of 2004. It caused a widespread damage in the coastal areas of the India, and even the southernmost point of the India, the Indra Point, which was in the Andaman and Nicobar Island, and it got submerged after the tsunami of the 2004. And this is, written some of the details of this tsunami, which occurred on 26th of December 2004. And this was, I have told you that the tsunami always happens after the earthquake. So this was the result of the earthquake that had its epicenter. See, these terms epicenter and focus we have already discussed in the previous chapters. Please refer our previous chapter videos for these terms. And the epicenter occurred close to the Sumatra, and the magnitude was 9 on the Richter scale. So it was the, very big, very destructive earthquake. And the Indian plate actually went under the Burma plate, and there was a sudden movement of the seafloor causing the earthquake. And in this process, the ocean floor was displaced by about 10 to 20 meter and tilted in a downwardly direction. And then a huge mass of ocean water flowed to fill in the gap, and that was being created by the displacement. Okay, because whenever the plate moves, then they will create a displacement, and this marked the withdrawal of the water mass from the coastline of the land masses in the South and Southeast Asia, and the regions of the India's southern part, like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, and also the Sri Lanka, whole Sri Lanka. And after thrusting of the Indian plate below the Burma plate, Indian water rushes back toward the coastline, and that tsunami actually traveled at a speed of more than 800 km per hour, which can be compared to the speed of a commercial aircraft. And it completely washed away some of the island in the Indian Ocean. And we have already seen that the Indra Point in the Andaman and Nicobar Island, that marked the southernmost point of the India, it got completely submerged. So please remember this fact: the Indra Point of the Andaman Nicobar Island, it got completely submerged during the 26th December 2004 tsunami. So now the southernmost point on the India is not this Indra Point. And wave, as soon as wave, uh, occurred inside the coast, or it enters inside the coast, its speed will be decreased. And but it caused a widespread destruction, and around 10,000 people died, and more than 3 lakh, more than lakhs of houses it destroyed. And the worst affected areas were the areas of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry, and Andaman and Nicobar Island, and also whole Sri Lanka. See, the earthquake cannot be predicted in advance, but it is very possible to give a 3-hour notice of a potential tsunami. And India has, fixed some of the tsunami measuring instrument in the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean also. Pacific Ocean, the tsunami instrument in the Pacific Ocean is by the USA and other countries. But generally, in Indian Ocean, these type of tsunamis are very rare, and that is why uh, this seismic activity in the Indian Ocean is very less as compared to the Pacific. But still, India has installed many tsunami measuring instrument and various other type of instrument in the Indian Ocean to give a, warning to the nearby coastal areas, so that the areas can be evacuated during these type of natural disasters. And this is some of the details written. See, there are various type of indications that can predict that tsunami is approaching or tsunami is coming. The first indication is the rapid withdrawal of the water from the coastal region. See, because tsunami is the result of the earthquake, and earthquake happens when one plate will move down, or one plate will and one plate will be remaining in the same position. So that creates the displacement, and that displacement will be filled by the water. And so the water draws from the coastal area, and then the plate will come to its original position, and then the water comes to the coastal area with a very high speed. And that is why there is a rapid withdrawal of the water from the coastal areas. So this is one of the indication of the tsunami. And whenever this happened, instead of people going to the high ground or to the other safe places, they start assembling at a coast to view this miracle, because people are generally not aware. And so the as a consequence, there was a large casualties of curious onlookers, and when the gigantic wave, that is tsunami, struck. So the first type of ocean circulation according to this chapter was wave. Now we'll come to second type of ocean circulation, that is tide. See, the rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water twice in a day is known as tide. And why this rhythmic rise and fall? Because of the two type of forces. One is the gravitational force between the moon and also the sun, and second is the centrifugal force, and that is opposite to the the gravitational force of the moon. And there are two type of tides. One is high tide and then is low tide. High tide is when water covers much of the shore by rising to its highest level, and low tide occurs when water falls to its lowest level and recedes from the shore. And the strong gravitational pull exerted by the sun and moon on the earth's surface causes these type of tides. There are two type of tides. One is neap tide and then is spring tide. Spring tide happens on the new moon and the full moon condition, and neap tide will happen on the on other moon days. See, the water of the earth will get closer to the moon, get pulled under the influence of the moon's gravitational force, and causes high tide. And during the full moon and new moon days, the sun, moon, and earth are in same line, and therefore these type of tides are highest, and these tides are known as spring tides. But when the moon is in first and last quarter, or when the moon will make the 90-degree angle with the earth and sun line, then the ocean water get drawn in, you know the water will be attracted towards sun also and towards moon also. So the water will get drawn in the diagonally opposite direction uh, by the gravitational pull of sun and earth, and that result in low tides. So during the spring tide, the tide will be highest, and during the neap tide, the tide will be lowest. And these type of tides are shown in this figure. Okay. And low tides are known as neap tide, and then high tides are known as spring tide. And high tides actually help in the navigation. They also raise the water level close to the source, and they also help the ships to arrive at the harbor very easily. And the high tide also help in fishing also. And then many more fishes come to the shore during the high tide, and this enables fishermen to get a plentiful catch. And the rise and fall of this water due to tides is being used to generate electricity in also some places, and that is why it is known as tidal energy. And it is one type of renewable energy, and government of India is also focusing on renewable energy. Now we'll see the third type of movement of ocean, and that is known as ocean currents. Ocean currents are actually the streams of water that flow continuously on the ocean surface in definite directions, and they are moving with some speed. And ocean current may be warm or cold, and there are various type of warm currents, there are various type of cold currents. Generally, the warm current, they originate from the equator, because equator is the heat surplus region, and the pole is the heat deficit region. So the warm type of ocean current originate near the equator, and they move towards the pole. And the cold current carry water from the polar or higher latitudes to the tropical or lower latitudes. Labrador ocean current is actually a cold current, and the Gulf Stream. These two currents are found in the North Atlantic Ocean. Is a warm ocean. Okay. Labrador is a cold, and Gulf Stream is a warm ocean. And all these two types of current are found in the North Atlantic Ocean. And ocean current also influence the temperature conditions of the local area, like the warm current to bring warm temperature over the land surface and the areas. See, this is very important point. The areas where the warm and cold current meets, they provide the best fishing ground of the earth. Okay, of the world. There are three type of areas in this map. You can see there are. This is the Labrador. This is cold current, and this is the Gulf Stream. They will meet near the Newfoundland of the Canada, and it provides the best fishing ground, and also it creates the foggy conditions. And the second area where warm and cold ocean current meets, the second area is near to the Falkland current and the Brazilian current. They will meet, and the area is known as Bahia Blanca, and this is also the best fishing. This gives the best fishing ground near this South America, the south part of the South America. And the third area where the best fishing grounds can be created by the Kuroshio current and Oashio current. Here also the warm current and cold current meet. So these are the three biggest fishing grounds of the earth, and created by the mixing of warm and cold current. And these type of area also experience foggy weather, and this makes very difficult for the navigation. Now we'll see the exercises. Precipitation is rainfall occur in the rain or snow or sleet form. Water cycle, water keeps moving from one stage to another, like from ocean it evaporates and then goes up and then makes clouds and then comes to the earth in the form of rainfall. So this is known as water cycle. Factors affecting the height of the wave. There may be various factors like earthquake, volcanoes, underwater currents, or tsunamis. Tsunamis have the highest, tsunamis waves are of highest. They may be up to 150 meter. Their height are very highest. Then the factors after the movement of the ocean waters. There are various types of factors which affect the movement of the ocean water. This is written here. Then what are the tides and how they are created? The tides are the rhythmic fall and rise of the water during the day, and they moves two times a day. This we have already explained that there are two type of tides, and they are caused due to the gravitational force between the sun and the moon. And there are neap tides, there are spring tides also. Ocean current are continuously, ocean current are they are always moving. They are always continuously moving with some type of speeds. Then the reason why ocean water is salty, because of the salt dissolved in it, and the maximum salt is NaCl or the common salt. Quality of water is deteriorating because of the water pollution and the overuse of water, and the intensification of agriculture because of the rising population. And there are various type of factors uh, why the quality of the water is deteriorating. Then the objective type question: the process by which water continually changes its form and circulate between ocean, atmosphere and land is water cycle. Warm current originate near equator because equator is a heat surplus region. Rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water twice in a day is known as tide. Then match the following. Caspian Sea is the largest lake. Tide is periodic rise and fall of water. Tsunami are the strongest seismic waves. Then ocean currents are the streams of water moving along definite paths. So this is completion of this chapter 5, and in the coming days we are going to cover all the remaining chapters of class 7 geography, and also then we will cover all the NCERT books from class 6 up to class 12 for geography, history, polity. Please like, share and subscribe our channel, and please appreciate so that we can make more and more videos for GS, GK, current affairs for you guys. Thank you.